Here we go. All right, it's recording. Awesome. So I'm super excited to share with all of you basically something we call in influence and impact coaching the effortless messenger conversion, or basically simply put, 3 steps to get engaged so that we can book all our strategy sessions over Messenger and like pretty productive and in a cool way without like being salesy, pushy, needy. And out of the results I got so far, like from my own clients or from people that are using the script, the data is pretty cool. Like most people are able to book like, I don't know, 1 to 3 strategy sessions a day, which is obviously pretty fucking awesome. So super excited to share this with all of you since it is out of the baby shoes. And yeah, basically here's what we are going to cover. Some important context before we actually go into the nitty-gritty, go into the different stages to get engaged and kind of the verbiage I use and what I actually write to get people on the phone. Some rules to make this a success. Then we actually talk about the 3 phases to get engaged. You guys can obviously all have the script I used. I put it together in like a super cool 1-pager. I will explain at the end of the conversation how you can get it. You can basically just send me a quick message on Facebook and I'm happy to share it with all of you. And as promised, at the end of the presentation, we will have time for some Q&A. I quickly gonna mute you, Katrin. What's up, what's up?
Yeah. Do you hear me?
I can hear you. I quickly gonna mute you. Please make sure to write down all the major questions that you have.
Yeah, good.
I'm gonna answer them at the end of the conversation. I'm gonna mute you right now so that we can kind of go productive over that presentation.
Good.
There we go. All right. So some important context before we get rolling. So I know that all of you might use different social media platforms. It's LinkedIn or it's Facebook, it's Instagram, and the script is field tested on every social media platform, so it works on every platform you want to use. Just here, important to understand that the flow, the messaging flow is the same, but obviously every social media platform has its own language. So kind of Facebook is completely different than Instagram, right? On Instagram, it's just more like a happy platform. People don't really like to talk that much about their problems, which is completely different on Facebook or on LinkedIn. So here it's just important that you use the same flow, but kind of change the language, right? Here in this presentation, the language we use is the Facebook language because in my opinion, Facebook is just the mother of all social media platforms and literally everyone is on Facebook. So you can find your target market 100% on Facebook. Yeah. So the outcome here, it's like really important to understand what is the actual outcome of like using that script, because most people just don't protect their time and waste way too much time during messaging and wonder why they don't book any strategy sessions. So it's really important to understand that the only outcome of using that script, the only outcome of basically sending those messages is to book a doctor's appointment, or better said, like a strategy sessions. It is not about to shoot the shit. It's not about exchanging, I don't know, some fancy informations about you and so on. Obviously, we want to build a relationship with that person, but always with kind of the outcome in mind that we want to help that person in a doctor's appointment or on a strategy session. And we all are busy, right? So it's not about sharing those fancy stories and so on. And on the other hand, it's as well not about the sale. It's important that you're not attached to the sale while messaging with people, because people can feel it in your energy if your only purpose is to actually sell your program, your service, instead of actually kind of helping them out, right? And all you basically need, so many people overcomplicate this. All you actually need to get someone on the phone to book that doctor's appointment is simply that your prospect needs to feel his problem, feel that they have a problem, and they need to believe that you might be able to solve their problem. They don't need to be 100% certain, so you don't need to share your whole solution with a messenger. You can do that on a phone call, but during messaging, it's really all about that they might believe that you are able to solve the problem. And this is literally all you need to get someone on the phone. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't dig too deep into the pains they have. Don't get all the informations out. You don't need to understand their problem entirely. It's more than enough if they just feel it a little bit and you kind of know what's going on. Really don't overcomplicate this and waste your time or even lose the opportunity through digging too deep, because it's pretty easy, especially in today's world. It's normal to ghost someone. It's normal to ghost a message, right? So if you dig too deep, it's not a problem for someone just to ignore you and ghost your message, right? It's important that you kind of find that balance between how deep you can dig and how much it takes to let your prospect feel his problem. It really doesn't take that much. So in that case, this is like kind of context I wanted to share. Next thing important here is that kind of that connecting stage. If you connect through, I don't know, like what we all do most of the time is like connecting through content. And this is uber important because as more touch points you can create with someone, as easier it will be to actually book that strategy session. So what we do is we actually dive deep into that with our own clients. We use something called the TLA Client Attraction System, basically a marketing template which builds trust, leadership, authority, so that we can create as many touch points as possible so that that messaging flow goes on as easily as possible. And it's just so much more simple when people already trust us before we actually dig into the messaging process. So here, I mentioned it before, just way too many people waste their time while messaging. They kind of are needy, running after prospects who aren't really interested, and just put way too much time into people that don't really are problem aware yet or don't really want to work together with you. So it's super important that you protect your time in every single message. And that's why I came up with basically a kind of an engagement priority. So you can kind of implement that engagement priority, which I explain in a second, in your like CRM. You can use Pipedrive, or what Ben actually shared with all of us is Messenger Funnel, which is super awesome for Facebook Messenger. It's super simple. You have the CRM like implemented. It's like a Google Chrome extension. It's implemented in Facebook, in the Messenger itself. So it's super easy. If you guys want to know more about it, hit me up via Facebook Messenger, and I'm happy to share the insights. Ben shared a video about it as well. But let's talk a little bit about those engagement priorities. So there are those P1 peoples. And the P1 people are the ones that actually reach out to you. So kind of the inbound leads that might saw like a piece of content from you or kind of got referred from someone, and they kind of reach out to you. And those are the ones you want to get on the phone as fast as possible, because it takes a lot of courage for someone to actually reach out and ask for help. So we want to leverage that, and we want to get those people as fast as possible on a phone conversation. So don't waste too much time through digging into the problem and so on. I would still make sure to actually understand the problem a little bit. So if they tell you, hey, I need to talk with you on the phone ASAP, just ask them a question. So like, what's the problem? How can I help? So that you just have like a little clarity around what is going on. And on the other hand, people you already messaged with and the people that feel their problem, mentioned, talked about their problem with you in Messenger are as well P1 people. So whenever you open up your Messenger, your inbox, you want to go first to all of those P1 people and make sure that you can schedule phone calls with them ASAP, right? Then we got those P2 people. P2 people are the ones that are highly engaged with your content. So they leave comments every time, they like your stuff every time. Those are the ones, well, you already have that rapport built and they follow you for a while now. So the chance is really big that they want to get on a phone call with you as fast as possible. Or on the other hand, like people that are engaged with you in the Messenger, people that are opening up, and people that are kind of ready to tell you more about their problems, where they want to be with their business. So that here as well, when you open up your Messenger, that you kind of know, okay, as soon as I talk with all the P1 people, the next ones I want to talk with are the P2 people. Because, well, sometimes, like right now, I have probably like 60 ongoing conversations in my Messenger, and they are all like, some of them are P1, P2, P3. So I kind of want to have that overview, which are the ones who are the ones that actually have the biggest potential to jump on a phone call with me, so that I can protect my own time and get those strategy sessions booked as fast as possible. Then we have that last tier, which is basically the P3 people. Those are the ones that low level engage with your content. So they probably just left one comment, or they sometimes like your stuff, or even outbound people. So this script works awesome as well if you just do complete outbound marketing. So you find people in a LinkedIn group, somewhere on Instagram or on Facebook, and you reach out to them. So this script works awesome inbound and outbound. And obviously as well, the people that are kind of low level engaged in messengers are probably the ones you just open it up the conversation, the ones that are giving you those short answers, and just those P3 people that aren't that much engaged. So those are the kind of engagement priorities I follow to make sure to protect my own time and kind of getting those strategy sessions booked regularly. Quickly take a sip of water. Here is basically when we look at that kind of pie right here. And that whole pie is basically your target market. We split that target market into like 4 kind of categories. We have like 50% of your whole market, of your whole target market, 50% of that pie will actually never buy from you. Never, ever. Then we have those slow lane people, just like obviously those numbers aren't tight. They can vary from industry to industry, and it depends on how big your brand is, how much authority you have, and so on. But those 40% I call the slow lane, because those are the ones that probably buy from you within 90 to 180 days. We don't kind of want to ignore them, but it shouldn't be our priority. It shouldn't be our main focus, because kind of 10% of your market are the ones we actually want to focus on, right? We have those 9%, which I call the fast lane, people that will buy from you within 90 days. And then kind of 1% of your whole market are actually the ones that are problem aware, that are actually looking for someone like you, looking for someone that is reaching out to them and giving them or presenting them a solution they need to get from point A to point B. So kind of the people we want to focus on are obviously those 10%. So the people that buy from us within 90 days, or those now buyers that are actually ready to jump on a phone conversation with you right now. And here we kind of get back to that opportunity volume. So obviously, as more time you can put into messaging, as more time, as more connections you make, as more of those 10% people you will actually find. And kind of the people, those other 90%, we kind of don't want to ignore them, right? We don't want to kind of leave them or kind of not engage with them. So what I do, which is super powerful, is I sent them into my group. I sent them a group invite. I put them into my email list, or I just tagged them on some important, helpful content so that they kind of stay engaged with us, but kind of, yeah, stay engaged with us and kind of still are in our ecosystem. So when those 90 to 180 days are up, because some people just need a little more time. Some people just need a little more time to actually trust you. They need to consume a little more stuff. Like I remember with you, Katrin, you needed a couple of weeks of consuming my content before you were actually ready to get on a phone call with me and figure out opportunities and actually end up as a client of mine. So you kind of don't want to lose those opportunities, but as well, don't like waste too much time through messaging with them and following up with them all the time. Just put them somewhere into your group, into your email list. And it's kind of funny. Those people at some point, they will reach out to you. Those will be like the ones that were like, hey, I'm following you since like 6 months. And I feel that I need your help right now. I'm sure you guys noticed that, or I'm sure you guys got those kind of messages already. So kind of powerful if you kind of leave them or kind of have them in your ecosystem. But as mentioned before, you want to focus on those 10% which are like who are willing to actually buy from you within 90 days. A couple rules to make this whole script, that whole system we are using here, a success. So most of you in here actually met that script, or I introduced that script as like basically messaging like a 14-year-old girl with ADD, right? Has a simple reason. I don't want to be mean here. I have HDAD myself, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. But it's really about when you send your messages or when you have a conversation with someone, pretend to be a 14-year-old girl. And if you can fake it, a 14-year-old girl with ADD. Simple reason here is that, well, in today's social media world, right, we're bombarded by marketing, by ads, by influencers, and everyone wants to sell us something. Like, we just need to open Facebook and probably the first thing we see is an ad from someone who tries to sell some snake oil or I don't know, whatever. And as well, like, what is super established, or what do we see over and over again when we get like those outbound messages, when people hit us up and kind of use that super professional and formal manner? We're like super formal when they text with us. Well, we know right away that those people kind of want to sell us something. And we shouldn't forget that we are using a social platform, right? Probably LinkedIn is a little bit different. So I was talking about that the language might varies from platform to platform, but especially on Facebook and Instagram, we're using a social media platform, and that social is in that name for a reason, right? We want to be social, we want to connect. And well, it's just way more simpler to connect with someone when we use informal verbiage, when we text informal, just like a 14-year-old girl. And you guys can actually do that test quickly. So just open up your iMessages or your WhatsApp or any conversation you have with a person you're intimate with a good friend, with a buddy, and just see how that conversation flows, right? Most of the time, you split your messages into actual multiple pieces. You use emojis. You don't really care if there's now like I don't know, like a mistake in punctuation, or I don't know, a spelling mistake. You just sent that message, right? So you just have that intimate connection. And here's the cool thing, like, intimacy beats authority every single day of the week. If that wouldn't be the case, all of our prospects, our target market, would only work with people like, I don't know, Sam Ovens, Ty Lopez, Traffic and Funnels, Taylor and Chris, or I don't know who the big leaders are in your industry. But if intimacy wouldn't beat authority, we wouldn't exist. right? Same reason when you look for someone, I don't know, for like someone that cleans your house, like most likely you won't Google most efficient cleaning institute in Chicago. You will just ask a friend, hey man, I see you have someone that cleans your apartment. Can you refer someone to us? Same thing here. Referral marketing is so powerful because it's just that intimate, it just boosts that intimate connection, right? So being able to use like that same messaging framework as your buddy is using when he's messaging with you, it's just super powerful. Here's a quick rule of thumb. So what I normally like, sometimes I use 12 words in a message, sometimes I use 8, but I wouldn't normally go for more than 10 words in one message before you actually send it, right? And here again, just be informal as fuck. Seriously, use emojis. Don't freak out because there's a spelling mistake. Just be like, just message like you would with your, I don't know, with your son or with your friends or whoever. I guess that makes kind of sense. But while we actually use informal verbiage, while we message in an informal manner, it's still super important that you always come from an equal or superior posture. You never, ever, ever want to be that inferior. You would never want to come from that inferior posture. Like, I guess most of you in here heard of the doctor frame, which is super established in sales. Basically, just being the doctor in a conversation, especially as soon as you open it up, the conversation, and build a little rapport. You want to be the one that is asking the questions. You want to be the one that is leading the conversation. You want to be the one that is actually busy because you are. You don't have time to shoot the shit. And you definitely don't give band-aid solutions. You first do a diagnosis, which is that doctor's appointment. You don't give any band-aids before you have someone actually enrolled. You don't give band-aids at all, right? It's just because if you give someone band-aids, well, guess what happens? This person will implement those band-aids a couple weeks later on his journey. He will realize that that single band-aid just didn't solve his problem. And now guess what? You will be the one that will get the blame from him because you gave him that band-aid, and he will blame you that his problem is not solved yet, right? So stop giving band-aid solutions. It just doesn't work. Stop helping people out with like a book recommendation or something like that. That just doesn't work. And another important lesson, especially when you come from that equal or superior posture, don't be over-invested or needy. So you kind of always can do that test. Like if you put more into the conversation, if your messages are always longer than the ones from your prospect, you invest way too much. You put too much. You put more energy into the conversation than your actual prospect. And this is not what a doctor does. You are the one who's busy, right? Don't be over-invested or needy. And if someone plays the baller, if someone wants to lead the conversation, well, remember this, like, just protect your time. If someone wants to be a baller, most likely he's not that problem aware, and he's not one of those 10% of people you want to focus on. So just be willing to just go next. Just like, all right, just leave the conversation and be like, hey, look, as soon as you need any help, just hit me up, but I'm busy and I don't have time for such conversation. Simple as that. Because you actually don't have the time for it unless you want to spend 14 hours messaging people. It just doesn't work. So now let's talk about the nitty-gritty, the meat and bread. So before I jump into that, do you guys have any like clarity questions right now, or like any major questions I should answer about the context? Because it's kind of important that you guys understand the context before we actually jump into the nitty-gritty stuff here. So quickly unmute yourself if you have a question. Nice. Awesome. So I hope you're all excited. I was working on that script for so long. I was trying so many different scripts. It's incredible. I was talking with so many people, Jason Capital, and so many other influencers out there, kind of trying to put something together, and kind of happy to be able to share something that actually kind of works consistent. And so hope you all are excited. Quickly, the 3 phases are called meet, date, and marry. Right? I don't know if Misty is on here, but kind of I hope this resonates with you a little bit. Or Katrin, probably for you. So the thing here is basically meeting someone and marrying someone, or let's say especially meeting someone, is kind of simple. Hopefully marrying as well. I'm not married, I don't know, but I hope that this process is kind of simple. The heavy lifting kind of is happening in that dating stage, right? The dating stage is that heavy lifting, like going on dates with each other. It's going on multiple dates, dating each other for like a couple of years. I don't know. This is the heavy lifting. And same thing here in our actual messenger conversation here. The dating stage is what will take up the most time here. So let's talk about phase number 1, the meeting stage. So you can see it's like kind of practical. So I'm just going to share with you what I do. And here again, important to understand is to kind of know the language of the platform you use and know the verbiage your target market is using. So if you work together with, like, I don't know, I work together with younger people in my age, like between 18 and 25, 26. So my verbiage is slightly different than if I would work together with, like, I don't know, corporate professionals, CEOs of like bigger companies. So just use the verbiage you normally use when talking with those people while still being informal. So first step, super simple, just slide into the DMs. Simple as that. What I normally do is like, what's up, Miles? Or like, what's up, Katrin, something like that. Just sliding into it, super simple. Then we actually want to open up the conversation. So there are obviously 2 different types. There are those inbound leads and outbound leads. I'm gonna explain each of those, but kind of important, when you open up the conversation, you want to open up with a why, which makes the whole thing a little bit less weird, because it's already like kind of strange. Like, why is this person reaching out to me? It's kind of just like those fire defense mechanism can come up super, super fast. So open up with a why. So in case of an inbound lead, you can basically be like, hey, saw you commented on my post, or saw you sent a friend request, send. Just check your profile, send. Love the cover photo, love that you're traveling a lot, love that you live in LA, or whatever. Like, find something personal and kind of tell them why you actually check them out, why you check the profile out. And the thing why we do that, the thing why we actually open up with kind of a love thing, is that same thing as when you meet someone, when you can give someone an honest compliment, pretty much straightforward, someone is lowering his guards, right? And is more open to actually build a conversation with you, having a conversation with you. So if you can find something personal you can love about them, awesome, use it. And then send. Just curious, how's business been? Or what inspired you to connect? Or you can just refer to the comment they commented on your post, like when you wrote something about which is the area in business you struggle with most, right? Referring back to that, like, hey, just saw your saw your comment. You mentioned you struggle in sales. Want to expand on that quickly? Something like that. But how's business been and what inspired you to connect? If someone sent you a friend request, works awesome. What happens if you actually open up with someone that is an outbound lead? Here again, you want to open up with a why because it's just less weird. And you can basically just be like, hey, thanks for connecting because you sent a friend request. And here, the same flow, just check your profile. Love that, find something personal. And most of the time, like in my space, people are in their intro, It means like, okay, they work as a social media marketer or they have an agency or whatever. So a super simple question to ask is just basically like, hey, how did you get into the digital marketing space? Or how's life in California? Something like that. Then you wait for the answer, respond with something like, awesome. How's business been going so far? Just to open up the conversation. This is basically kind of already everything in that meeting stage. There's one last thing I would encourage you guys to use because it's super powerful and I just love to use it. Something I learned from a coach of mine, basically dropping the frame. Just for a little bit to connect and see how it feels. I talked about that before. People are getting bombarded by snake oil ads and kind of content and stuff like that. So we want to create a real connection here. And what I normally do is like, hey, waiting in the rain for my Uber right now, or waiting in line for a green juice, first world problem, white boy problems, something like that, just to kind of be funny. And what works really great in my target market, and I kind of just love to do it, I send a bored face selfie. Like obviously I just have them saved in my phone, literally just a selfie of mine where I'm waiting outside or where I'm waiting in Starbucks. And if you're a fun guy, do the same. Or if you're as ugly as I am, you can do the same as well. Joking here. But kind of try it out, see how it connects. In my target market, it works awesome. It just basically breaks the ice immediately. That's basically it. I mentioned before that meeting stage is super, super simple. Now let's get to the heavy lifting, that dating stage. Here it's important that we start to kind of build that strong doctor frame. And the best way to do that is through asking intelligent, probing questions to open them up, right? So what I literally in every conversation do as soon as they responded to like, oh, I love green juice, or what is in it, or like, haha, you're funny, something like that. At that point, I stop shooting the shit because I don't have time for it, right? The next thing I literally do is like, would love to hear more about your situation, man. Where's your business at currently, right? I wait for the answer, and hey guys, most of the time, like probably not most of the time, but chances big that people won't answer. Just go next. Chances big as well that people just be like, yeah, it's all is awesome. If they answer it like all is awesome, don't get discouraged. Like they will open up after step 5, but just get used to it that people will start ignoring you because they aren't looking for help, right? So they won't open up. But the ones that are having a major problem, they will open up. And if they mention like, yeah, I'm not where I want to be with my business, I normally come up with, gotcha, could you expand on that? Or I suck in sales, so all right, could you expand on that? And kind of opening them up a little more. Could you expand on that is a great question, or what do you mean is a great question to ask, right? Just to open them up a little more. If like their answer is already really clear, awesome, go to step number 2. As I mentioned before, most people won't tell you the truth or open up fully right away, but most likely they will after step 5. And what we use after they open it up a little bit is like a connecting statement to show empathy. So kind of the step, I call the step philia. So super simple, just like using a statement like, got it, gotcha, or, oh, okay, cool, I feel with you, right? Something like that, super simple. Then as soon as we have like that kind of clarity on the table, what is going on in their business, we go to step number 3, which is basically called show. And this builds like that doctor frame, and this gives them the feeling that you might be able to solve their problem pretty fast. But I mentioned before, we never want to give band-aids. So what we want to do is we want to show know-how while showing know-how. We don't want to give band-aids. And we actually do this through basically telling them something like, yeah, we just worked with a guy, Miles, in the digital marketing space as well. We had to overcome something similar with him too. This builds instant authority. Instant authority. You had a client, You had to overcome something similar, and you don't need to give anything. Or another great way is just confirming that your fear. Like, oh yeah, we see that a lot in the industry. Because let's be honest for a second, who observes the industry? An expert, right? And this is all it takes. People just need to know that you're an expert in actually solving that problem that they have. Super simple, right? And this doesn't take more than a message or two. We will boost that whole process and we will hone that in one of the further steps when we have like a little more rapport built. But this is super awesome. So show know-how while showing know-how. Then we do something super powerful. Most people stop here. Most people stop here because when they believe as soon as like the problem is on the table, they can invite the prospect to a phone call, which, yeah, kind of works, but you will lose some opportunities because people are just not ready yet. Because most people just don't understand what actually makes people move forward, right? Because it's not just simply the problem. It's the dissonance of where they are right now and where they want to be. So we want to create a gap between those two situations. Where are they right now and where do they want to be? And here's the cool thing about gapping, especially on Instagram. Some people are just more open to talk about their dream, right? As well with like a lot of mindset coaches or in general entrepreneurs. We're all positive thinkers, right? We learned that we shouldn't dwell on the problems and way more dwell on the dream. So most people are more willing to open up when it is about their dream, right? Especially on Instagram because it's a happy platform. Everything is about inspiration, bragging, and those kind of things, why I actually hate Instagram, but that's a topic for another day. Mentioned before, the real problem is the dissonance of where you're at right now and where you want to be. Because here's the thing, someone might tell you that they make 6 figures and you're like, oh, that's awesome, I can't help that person. But this someone actually wants to make multi-6 figures. And that's the real issue. And it doesn't mean that you need to make multi-6 figures to be able to help him. If you are an expert in generating leads, this person needs your help. And if he understands where he is right now and it's so far away from where he actually wants to be, this creates the real issue. So what I do is literally like, so, and where do you want to be in 6 months or so? Simply as that, I get constantly those annoying messages from my computer that my storage is full. Anyways, so simply as that, where do you want to be in 6 months or so? Most likely people will open up. Might will give you a superficial answer, but that's already enough. If they make 5K now and the superficial answer is that they want to make 50K in 6 months, that's already a dissonance. They already feel their problem. They know that they're not there yet, right? So what we want to do in step number 5 is actually getting the truth on the table. And we want to get a self-diagnosis. We want them to self-diagnose themselves, which will make step number 6, the one on the next slide actually, uber powerful, right? So what I normally text is like, exciting, awesome goal, or something like that. And then like, send, what's missing to make it happen? Then I'll wait for the answer and come back again with a connecting statement. Gotcha, feel you. And here's something I'm currently testing right now. That's why it is in italic. It's basically what you need. So if you kind of already have a bigger brand, have a kind of bigger name and authority in the market, I would encourage you to try it out, because if it kicks in, it's super powerful, because it builds a really strong frame and makes people asking you for help. So when they tell you what's missing to achieve their goal, you literally just come up, gotcha. What do you need? What do you need most from me right now? And if you kind of have that brand, kind of having great content, or especially when someone is super engaged with you, they will probably tell you, yeah, I would need a nutrition plan, or I would need some ideas around lead generation, organic lead generation, something like that, right? But as I mentioned before, I can't really give you proper data right here because I'm still trying it out myself. So the main step number 6 is called I'm the shit, which is basically hammering it home that you can help them solve their problem. So what we want to use is a quick PAS. So basically a problem, agitate, solve message. So the problem, we want to agitate the problem and solve at high level. And basically with the PAS, we want them to believe that we might be able to help. Keep it really short and split it in couple messages. As more words you need to use, as less you look like an expert. Keep it really short. No one wants to read a huge paragraph. Literally, people will ghost you if you send a huge message. And if you can, add testimonial screenshots if you have some. I encourage you guys to start collecting those. There's nothing, in my opinion, screenshots is, in my opinion, even more powerful than actually a video testimonial because it's so easy to consume, right? So here's a quick idea of a problem agitate solve message you can send. So you really remind me to one of my clients, Charlie. He was stuck with the exact same problem, right? And because of it, he struggled for a month getting to 6 figures. If you can relate that problem to the truth they mentioned here in step 5, awesome. As more resonant you will create, right? And because of it, he's stuck at his mom's place racking up that, something like that. Make it powerful. And here's the high level solve. As soon as we got clear around his targeting and communication, he was able to make 6 fig within 90 days. And if you can relate it to his gapping answer, so where he wants to be, even more powerful. And at the end, you just sent that proof screenshot of like Charlie texting me, hey man, just hit 6 figures, something like that. Then we actually come close to the finish of the dating stage. Basically, now or never. You want to create urgency because urgency is one of the most powerful ways to actually have influence on someone. I know it's kind of needy, it's kind of salesy, but well, it just works. And after all, we have the best interest at heart for that person. So if it helps to help that person, well, just go ahead and use it. That's my opinion. So what I use is I think I know right after I sent the proof screenshot, right after that, I don't wait for an answer. I'd be like, so I think I know the answers to your questions, or I think I have a couple thoughts to share with you. But always gotta ask, is handling this issue a got to eventually sort of thing for you? Or is it a priority? This is not just powerful to create urgency, it as well shows you if this person is a good fit to actually work with you, because you don't really want to have someone on the phone who don't really want to solve his problem right away. You want to have those people on the phone that are ready and willing to take action to solve their problem, right? And now it's up to you if you want to marry that person or not, right? It's up to you if you want to move forward. So if he mentioned that it is a priority, you can move to phase 3. If that person is not your ideal avatar, send him to someone else. Or if it is not a priority, like kind of never or slow lane, point them to a lead magnet, into your Facebook group, email list, tag them on a post you did, something like that, just to keep them in your ecosystem. Hope that made sense. Now, let's talk about the last phase, that marriage stage. So the marriage stage. Time to go on your knees, boy or girl. This one is super simple because they already want to marry you, right? They feel their problem. They know that you might be able to help them. So this is super simple stuff. So it's simply, you just simply ask them like, gotcha, again, a connecting statement, and be like, would you like some help with that? And to 99.9%, they will say yes. And if they say yes, you come up with a proposal. What I love to use is a if I would use statement. It's kind of, I don't know, an LP framework where it's just a super comfortable way to ask someone for something and kind of giving something in return. So kind of what I use is if I set up some time to chat so we can get clarity around exactly what you need to do, would you want to hop on a call? Super smooth way to ask for the next step. If they say yes, I'm like, cool, go ahead and grab a time that works best for you. And I sent my scheduling link. If you don't have a scheduling tool, you can as well do that manually, but my time zone sucks here in Switzerland. It's super different than every other time zone out there. So I kind of like to use scheduling links. But if you like to manage your own calendar, you can do it manually, right? And as the next thing is, and fill out the quick application so I can prepare the call. So I would encourage all of you to obviously use an application form. And here's like something, it's literally like cheating. Like I'm sure some of you had that as well, that someone like was willing to jump on a phone call with you, but it took like weeks until he actually booked the call, or it took you to follow up with him like, hey, sorry, you didn't book a call yet, which is kind of annoying, right? So what I love to do is like, after you book, just let me know, send, I will leave the chat open. Doesn't make that much sense. Like, I don't know if you really let a chat open in Facebook, and either way, it doesn't make much sense, but it's literally like cheating. It creates that urgency again, right? So super, super powerful. Then simply the contract. So let's wrap everything up. So as soon as they book the appointment, be like, nice, I see you booked time for the appointment they booked it for. And here are like two ways. If you do sales by yourselves, awesome. If you have someone else that does the sales for you, just be like, hey, I quickly connect you with one of our coaches, Joshua. You will love him, and he will actually help you solve your problems, right? And let's pretend it's you who does the sales. It's like, what I use is like, make sure to set an alarm, because we're going to be ready at the exact time you booked. And what I love to do, you don't need to do it, but just to kind of give them even a little more motivation, fire them up, is like something like, also just got this from our client Miles, and sending a social proof screenshot like, hey Miles, I just can't believe it, I hit from 0 to 6-figure earner in 90 days, just incredible. Sending this screenshot, then had to share. Or what you can as well is like sending a case study deck, or a way like to get them excited to eventually work with you. Works awesome. So just quickly, this is basically it. This is the script I use. So for everyone on this conversation right here, I got everything on a one-pager for you. Drop me a quick message in Facebook, and I'm sending it to you, so you can use it and kind of pin it in front of you, or kind of save it somewhere. And for everyone watching the replay, you can actually click the link on the page you will get directed to and download the script. Pretty simple and awesome. All right, guys. So happy to answer a couple questions now. We are pretty good in time. You can all unmute yourself. Happy to hear some feedback. Happy to hear some questions. And happy to dig with you guys a little bit into the nitty-gritty.
Yo, Miles.
I can hear you, man. What's up, brother? Yeah, I hear you, man.
Hey, bro. So this was amazing. This was awesome. Tons of value here, man. So I just want to give you a virtual hand clap and applause on behalf of everyone else. Dude, my question, how do I know if when I'm messaging somebody that they are just simply not interested, or if I'm just not, like, I guess, asking the right questions to really dig out their pain?
So simply, like, normally if like someone is like really like that kind of baller and doesn't really want to open up, that's like a red flag for me. But the cool thing here is, if you follow the script, like literally from stage to stage, if someone doesn't open up after you ask them, would love to hear more about your situation. If they don't open up, just go next. Because if they have a real issue, they will open up and tell you about their situation, because they want to have it solved. And if it's still like kind of everything is going good and so on, you kind of want to figure that out kind of yourself. You can go on and kind of bet on that they open up when you created that dissonance through creating the gap. But at latest, when they don't really give you the truth, or don't really give you a proper self-diagnosis, like be like, I'm kind of, I will achieve that goal either way, it's a red flag, just go next. But most of the time, the people that are not interested, they won't tell you where their business is at currently. They will tell you, why are you asking that? Or they will give you like a really like snappy answer. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. Another question. So when you say, would love to hear more about your situation, what are some other, I guess, ways that you would phrase that? Some different variations of that same ask. So would love to hear more about your situation. I guess, how's it going? Or
so I really like, to be honest with you, I always use the would love to hear more about your situation, because I try to use how is it going, but this is just a question that normally leads to, oh, everything is fine. But when you really ask them to to tell you about where they at with their business, or you could try out, would love to hear more about where you're at with your business. But this is like a really strong question, and people kind of start to understand what you are about, right? So you really want to learn more about their current situation. I wouldn't just like essentially reframe that question that much, if I'm honest.
okay. And
Makes
if
sense.
somebody just doesn't want to go there, well then whatever, just move on.
Next, because this goes back to that pie here. Normally the people that have an issue, they will open up because they want to have that issue solved. It's like that issue, like it's that reason why they cry themselves to bed at night. They want to have it solved. And in my experience, they will open up and tell you about it.
Got it. All right, man.
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback, by the way, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Happy that it helped. Awesome. So happy to answer any other questions in here. Just unmute yourself and drop those questions or feedback. I love feedback.
Hi, Miles. This is Katrine.
Awesome.
Hi. Thank you so much. This is really good stuff.
Awesome.
And
love to hear
I
that.
feel like I can really get going with this. I'm going to for sure try it out. So really, thanks for putting it all together.
With pleasure.
It makes it so much more like tangible and comprehensible. Yeah.
Nice.
And I feel I can move into some action coming days. Now, my question is, people, I post stuff and sometimes people comment and sometimes they just like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So how do I engage with people who, let's say, don't comment, but only like? So I would assume I say, thanks for liking my post, or like, how do I engage with them?
I wouldn't even essentially say like, thanks for liking your post. You can literally go on with the same script. So if someone is like one of those P3 people that probably just like one of your posts or so, I wouldn't even really refer to the like. I would be just like opening up the conversation. What's up? Be like something like using that outbound way. So thanks for connecting, or hey, just figured that we are connected for a while. Just check your profile. But if someone is like liking all your stuff like for a while now, you can be like, hey, saw you liked a couple of my posts. Just check your profile. Like here it's really just more about, it doesn't really matter what they do. It's just really more about opening up with a why, so that it is less weird, that you have like something tangible to actually open up the conversation, right?
Okay.
And obviously what we will work on, Katrin, is like to actually get people to comment on your stuff and actually get people like more engaged. So we will talk about all of that soon.
Okay, good. And one more question is like, sure. Maybe that we will cover that in a future module. I don't know. Do let me know if we do. But the question I'm holding is, so if people are commenting on my posts, how do I move them to Messenger?
You literally just slide into the DMs. What you can do is actually, if someone comments with a problem, like if they are like, I have a problem with that, what you can do is basically open them up a little bit more in the comments. So being like in the comments, hey, could you expand on that? Okay. Or what do you mean? But basically, you can literally just slide into their DMs, because especially if you are friends with them, they will get back, because people are so excited when they get a message, especially if they are not in like the entrepreneur niche where they get direct messages all the time.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
With pleasure. With pleasure. With pleasure.
Okay.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Hey, Miles, what's going on, man?
Charlie, what's up, brother? How are you, man?
Good, man. Just got back from Mexico.
Nice, brother. Nice, brother. How was it, man?
Good. I didn't get burnt, so anytime I don't get burned, it's a good vacation, man.
Nice, brother. Nice, brother.
Dude, yeah, awesome material here, man. I like it a lot, and I'm excited to implement this.
Nice.
I'm building up my Facebook group now, so I got about 200 people in it. I'm keep that growing. I'm would you recommend doing the same exact flow with when you reach out to people in your Facebook group? And I just worry about people getting turned off. Like some people might be getting turned off or, confused about.
You kind of need to reframe your mindset in that case. Like, you don't bother people when you message them, because the people that get bothered by your message, they will never buy from you. Either way, those are like the ballers. The ballers you don't want to have a conversation with. You don't bother people when you reach out to them. And the people that get bothered by it, next, just don't care. And they won't leave your group anyways. People are too lazy to leave your group, and they will forget. They will forget a couple weeks later on. But you can use the exact same script. Like, I'm using that script with my Facebook group every single time, right? So you can literally basically use that outbound strategy. So basically you can be like, hey, so what I do every time when someone actually joins my group, I be like, what's up, Charlie? Welcome to the IIC family. Just check your profile. Love what you do. Giving that compliment. Just curious, how's business been? So in future, everyone that actually joins your group, I would send a message.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Okay, great. I'm definitely going to implement that. And then as another question I have for you is, are you considering delegating this at any point? Because you almost have it systematized.
So I will definitely delegate this at one point, because the cool thing is it is literally a script and everyone from Upwork can actually use it, or Fiverr can use it. It's really not that difficult. So at one point I will definitely outsource it, but like, as long as it is still like, it's not in the baby shoes anymore, but I know that there are like a couple things which can be improved. So I'm using it myself right now and I'm getting great results, but I'm tweaking it. I want to make it like, I don't know, I want to give it a little more time until I actually delegate it, but it definitely works, brother. Like, since it is, especially when you sent me that message afterwards and I send you the script, you can literally just give this to your white label service or to your VA, EA, whatever.
Great. Oh, awesome, man. Thanks, Miles.
What pleasure, brother. What else can I do for you guys? Anything else I can answer? We have like a couple more minutes left, but if not, there are no more questions. I wish you guys all, there's this fancy slide, where is it? I wish you all guys happy booking. And guys, I would love to see some screenshots on how many calls you booked. I would love to hear your feedback while being in the trenches with the script. Let me know. I would love to hear some stuff. Ian, brother.
Yeah, hey, I was curious on how many times you follow up. Like, once you, like, if you reach out and let's say you get a reply, and then once you reply, like, they don't end up texting you back or messaging you back, how many times do you normally follow up?
So if it is like, here we go back to actually like the priorities. So I actually never follow up to P3 people, because obviously the goal here is to keep your opportunity volume up. So just further on, connect with people and keep your messaging inbox full with people you can actually talk with. So I never follow up with P3 people. I don't know, probably if they engage again with one of my contents or so on, like I do. but I normally just follow up with P1 people, sometimes with P2 people. But you really want to, here again, to protect your time, to follow up is important. Following up with people is powerful, but only follow up with people that are actually interested in talking with you. Don't run after people. You're the doctor, you're busy. So follow up with people that are P1, with some people that are P2. With people you have like the feeling that you can get them on the phone.
Okay. Good answer. All right. Sounds good, man. Yeah, it makes sense.
Awesome, brother. Sweet, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
With pleasure, brother.
All right. Much love. I'm out.
Cool, bro. Anyone else?
Hey, Miles, are you sending are we going to get a Google Doc or anything on this, or should we just use the
It's
slideshow?
recorded. It's recorded. It's recorded.
Okay, perfect, cool.
You will all get the recording.
Got it.
Awesome. There's nothing else. Again, wish you guys a happy booking. And super excited to hear all of your feedbacks, seeing you guys crushing it. And going to give you guys a couple more seconds. But if there's nothing else, we will end this session and talk soon. If there are, oh, by the way, if you have any questions in the execution of it, hit me up. I'm always happy to answer questions. Awesome, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Wish you guys an awesome remaining week, and we talk soon.